Hey, it's Cate Stillman with the Yoga Healer Show. And in today's episode, I do a coaching session with one of my yoga health coaches, Glenna Bedoya, who is going into the second year of yoga health coaching. And Glenna has suffered from PTSD since childhood. She had a very stressful childhood, and her fear and anxiety eventually turned into an autoimmune disease, into Addison's disease, which is where there's adrenal insufficiency, basically, or it's a high vata condition where you're constantly triggered, like you're just in a constant or near constant stress response. And when that happens, your whole physiology can't operate in a way that is efficient and effective. Any measure of health is decreased, and any measure of aging is increased, essentially. So this drove Glenna into studying yoga, studying meditation, Ayurveda, Reiki, becoming a self-healer, becoming also what we call a wellness pro. And in this conversation, what we look at is what is possible when we direct our attention. And so there's so much. I know so many people right now are struggling with autoimmune disorders. And one of the things that I find is not talked about enough, and it's a core principle in yoga. You could even say it is the core principle in yoga, is how you direct your attention. Now, in Ayurveda, there's a core principle around digestion, that everything coming in through your five senses needs to be digested. So when there's too much stimulation, the wind element, so vata, which is air plus ether, this wind force, it starts to wear things out. Just like if you're outside on a windy day, at the end of the day, if it's really windy, you'll feel quite exhausted. And this wear and tear from too much stimulation, what it happens is it actually blows the fires of digestion, which it's centered in the digestive tract, but it's really in every cell of the body, and the mind is in every cell of the body. And what happens is just this overload and a lack of what in Ayurveda is called tejas, which is this power of discrimination of your mind to say yes to this and no to everything else. So in this conversation, especially if you're wanting higher levels of productivity, if you're having trouble prioritizing your attention, if you don't use time blocking, if you don't have good integrity with your calendar, if you're overloaded in terms of how much stimuli, how much information you're taking in, whether that's via social, whether it's watching stuff, YouTube, Netflix, like whatever it may be, starting to realize that everything that your senses are taking in needs to be digested, and how this really can get to the root of rebuilding your adrenal glands. And this to me is so, oh man, it's just like, it's so critical. It's so crucial, especially, I would say, like, especially as we age, but even being a parent. Like I noticed, like my child yesterday, she texted me from school saying, like, can I go to a friend's house? And I was like, no way. Like she needed more downtime. She needed more time with not digesting new experiences in it. And so it was interesting because last night when she was going to sleep, she was like, oh, I'm so glad I just came home after school and chilled out. So in this conversation with Glenna, what I want you to be thinking about for yourself is like, where in the past week have you taken in experiences? Have you taken in images, impressions, social media, videos, reading news, whatever? Have you taken in stuff that actually is not in alignment with the goals that you're trying to achieve next, or the big goal that you're trying to achieve next? Because if you can listen from that place, something will happen in listening to my coaching session with Glenna that will help you in the week ahead direct your attention to results-based productivity and start to optimize rather than sabotage your time. All right, enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. It's Cate Stillman with Yoga Health Coaching and Yoga Healer. And I'm here with Glenna Bedoya, who is a Yoga Health Coaching Mastery member and therefore gets access to Yoga Health Coaching gyms with me. And we're talking about results-based productivity and optimizing time. Glenna's issue she just shared with me is around sabotaging her time. And that's what we'll dive into. So go ahead and give me just an overview of what's going on.
Time blocking has felt very impossible. I feel like I am constantly trying to switch my teaching schedule around to work and be able to focus on my program and studying my yoga health coaching. And it just feels like things just keep coming up and I'm running around in circles, chasing my tail a lot of the time. Yes. So I've tried to time block, and holding integrity around that has been hard. And learning how to hold space too, if there is a night where I just don't sleep well, of letting myself be where I'm at and also being okay with not getting things done the way that I want them to look or be, but also finding that I feel like I need to, blocking my coaching gyms and my strategy sessions and all of that, getting those blocked and succinct, because it keeps cutting into my studying time and doing my own marketing and newsletters and all of that has been not streamlined at all so far.
Okay. So what's your pattern that you're noticing in your relationship with productivity and your calendar?
So a lot of times I will, in the morning, I get my self-care taken done, but not in a timely manner. I try to block out time to,
so like, which means what? Like you want to be done by a certain time and you're not until a later time?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what time should you be done by according to your ideal calendar?
9 a.m.
Okay. And what time are you finding that you're actually done?
10 or 11.
Okay. So because you have flexibility, like you've built flexibility into your lifestyle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially. Yep. So there's no like massive consequence to being done at 9 versus being done at 11. Like Correct. There's no, like you lost your job.
Right.
Right. So there's some degree with identity evolution that as an entrepreneur, you have to be your own boss. And you have to be a good boss. So humane, reasonable, and output oriented. So like, what's the output for you for instance, I'm an employee of Yoga Healer, right? And that's a very different mindset than like, I'm the Yoga Healer, I can do whatever I want. So Yoga Healer pays me to do a lot of things, to run the company, to coach, to be here with you right now. There's a certain amount of responsibilities that Yoga Healer pays me to do. And it's very good to have this mindset of actually having yourself as an employee of your LLC or of your company. And then saying, well, now you're having two roles. One, you're the boss of the company and you're also the employee of the company. So as the boss of the company, you have to look at employee performance. You have to look at how employees using their time and what the outputs of those time investments are. And that is an analytical way to look at it, right? Where you're actually taking yourself a step away from yourself. And so maybe in your company, it's fine for your employee to set their own hours. And so they go to work at 11 and they work. And these are the kind of things that they're responsible for creating, and they can have their own schedule. Or maybe that's not okay because it's not working. right? Maybe you're like, oh, we've tried that. But unfortunately, on the output side, like we don't have our marketing materials done. We aren't having X amount of, sales calls a week. We're not making a certain number of sales a month. And therefore, we have to look at that and say, well, doing that didn't work. Starting work at 11 didn't work. Maybe what we need to do is to start work at 9:30 or 9. Now, a lot of people that are quite productive and successful are clear that morning matters. So even getting to work ideally like a year from now, like being like, what would it be like if you actually had your self-care done and started work at 8 a.m.? Just because we know that people that are successful and productive tend to have that pattern. High achievers have that pattern, right? They go to bed early, they wake up early, they get their mind game on, they get their body game on, and then they go to work. And while that might seem like a world away, if that's in a year from now, then it's not a bad target to start to move towards. Mm-hmm. So simply starting work, having these longer mornings will make you less productive the rest of the day. Now, as the owner of the company, if that's what your employee is doing, like you've got to have a heart to heart. Because like if you had a traditional job in an office, chances are you're not walking into work at 11. Some days 9:30, other days, right?
Yeah.
And the idea here isn't that you're trying to create a prison for yourself. It's that certain goals supersede other goals, right? So you may have lifestyle goals and you may have financial goals. And if your lifestyle goals are getting in the way of your financial goals, then there needs to be a heart to heart. Hey, it's Cate. And my question is, do you need to change your life? Like seriously, do you need a shift? So I have a 10-day crash course for you to get aligned for action. And there's 3 basic parts to it. One is you ignite your ambition and clarify your vision. The second is you align your time and your space to fulfill that vision and activate your ambition. And the third part is we usually need to do this with other people. There's usually other people that are part of our vision. And we need a plan. And that's the third part. So it's 10 days, it's fast. Because you're a podcast listener, I get to give you a discount. You can find the special discount link in the show notes, or it's yogahealer.com/change-your-life-exclusive. It's a $500 course. Because you're a podcast listener, you can get it for $47. It's well worth it. I promise it's more than worth the $47. Like if you really do it, it will help you step into your next ambitions with clarity, with a better plan, and with your head screwed on right and pointed forward to go into action. Again, yogahealer.com/change-your-life-exclusive. It's worth the $47. So let's talk about your lifestyle goals and your financial goals, but let's talk about it sounds like this is hitting this particular time issue in productivity and output and results is hitting your bottom line. Is that true?
Yeah.
So something needs to change in order to have different results.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go then into like, get clear, like what is the financial goal?
I would love to have my next quarter starts in February, and I would love to have it sold out at $12,000.
Okay. So you'd like to bring in 12,000 income.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the time frame? You have like 4 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a bit of a hustle. The short term is the hustle. What's the annual goal?
This year it is 70,000.
Total?
Yes.
Sorry, what did you say? It's 70?
70. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I forget the exact math, but yeah.
Great. So you have $70,000. What would that change in your lifestyle if you were earning 70,000?
Everything. Just financial freedom, freedom of time, freedom to relax and not be stressed about money as much as I am right now. Um, uh, just spacious. When I think about it, it's just a feeling of spaciousness.
Okay, great.
And yeah, and the ability to just have more freedom in just having time for myself, having fun.
Great. So there's a lot that the financial side will take care of in terms of the lifestyle side.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So think about it that way. And then where is lifestyle actually getting in the way of financial goals?
I guess kind of part of the cycle is, you know, so much of my energy gets stuck in having an autoimmune disorder, and kind of finding that fine line of what I really need to do to take care of myself and nurture myself, um, and being productive in just the right way.
Okay.
Yeah, I had taken a break from a few classes for about a month or so, and anyway, I'll be going back to that next month. But it was the first time in many years I actually felt like I had a spacious schedule, a doable schedule, and my break was just to kind of test it out to see if it would actually work. And I want to keep it up, so I plan to go back to that next month, or I will go back. It's actually next week, um, and trying to maintain that, so I do have that space of, again, being productive in a realistic way, and again, taking care of myself and nurturing myself. But I do, my brain um, still wants me to get a lot more done than maybe is feasible sometimes. And that just kind of creates its own stress loop around time as well, of, today is a low energy day. Maybe I just need to do some yin poses, and figure out what's the minimum I can do for the day, so that, maybe in a couple more days when my energy increases, then I can get 10 things done on my list as opposed to 2. So I think
what are you currently doing that is depleting? That you have control over, that you could stop? Like, the question here is like, what do you need to stop doing?
Cutting back on my teaching more. I've cut back so much, but maybe that's really the only thing I feel like
let's talk more about personal habits. Like,
okay.
For instance, do you read the news or listen to the news? Do you spend time on social media that's not work oriented?
Yeah.
Or productivity, like production oriented, where you're not consuming social media, you're producing social media, where you're, do you have a Netflix subscription that you use? Like, where are the things that you're taking in through your 5 senses that are not in alignment with your financial goal?
Yeah.
So just give me a quick list.
Netflix, and social media isn't too bad. I do pay more attention to the news than I should.
Okay, so let's just look at Netflix and news, and social media, and just look at the last week as an average. Do you use your phone for that, or do you use a computer or TV or pad?
Usually my phone.
Okay, so on your phone, do you know? Let's see. Let me find it on mine. There's an activity monitor. Do you have that? Like, I'll just show you mine. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. So I can see what apps I've put time into, productivity and entertainment or information. So for me, entertainment, it's actually education. I just use YouTube. And I use it for education. I don't really use it. I use it a little bit for entertainment, usually, maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes a couple times a week. But you can look at that and see in the last week where you were. Do you ever use that part of your phone?
No.
Okay. So you can put that on. Do you have an iPhone or
iPhone? Yeah.
So if you scroll left instead of right into your apps, if you scroll left, it should come up there. And you guys, anyone listening, I highly recommend you start using these activity monitors on yourself, especially if you're struggling with time or productivity. What you want to see is, where are you wasting time? Like, where is there time that's just open and available to you? Now, anything you take in through your senses, primarily your eyes and your ears, anything you take in through your senses needs to be digested. So if you're having trouble getting the right things done and you're having trouble with not having great mornings, usually it's because you're taking in things that you can't digest. Now, other people have issues. I'm just going to speak broadly here. If you can't sleep well at night and you're using caffeine, there's a good chance that your body's individual ability to metabolize caffeine is like less than the average person. And so then that might disrupt sleep and then you'll have tough mornings. The goal here, Glenna, is for you to have very productive mornings very consistently, because that's a great autoimmune strategy in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, and depending how serious you are, and this is a good way to gauge how serious you are about your financial goals, I would cancel Netflix. I would take any news app off my phone. And if you're not producing social media on your phone, if you're using a computer to produce social media, then I would take social apps off your phone as well, so that you start to enter a production orientation towards social media, which is a great driver of business. And these are drastic measures. And I'm just going to be really clear. It's like, if you have an autoimmune disorder and it's getting the better of you, it's time to take drastic measures. Otherwise, what happens is, what you do habituates itself. So the way we use media becomes the habit of the media. And so to have a radical change, and my guess is that's why you scheduled this coaching gym with me, right? Is it's like, it's time for a radical change if you want to have a radical change in the end result. And then what you'll find is, if you're not watching Netflix at night and you're just binging yoga health coaching mastery videos, staying up with the course isn't something you need to do during the day. It's something you can then do at night, right? And then in the day, you can just take action. Because binge watching, yoga health coaching videos, while it is fun and exciting, there's not the kind of cliffhangers there are in Netflix series. You'll probably find that you're falling asleep earlier, waking up earlier. And I would have it as a goal. I mean, I would be pretty radical here. It's like, lights out by 9, up at 5, done with self-care by 8, at work, like clocking in at work at 8 a.m. And that's not Kaizen. Like, this is a great leap forward. This is saying that these financial goals require a radical change.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. I mean, I'll tell you from the other side of it, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you see that you can do that, and your autoimmune condition should improve, it should dissolve, right? With just deeper alignment. The more you're paying attention to your own activity monitor and saying, like, is this activity I'm doing, is this moving my goal forward, or is it moving me backward? And then I think what you'll find with this is that when you take those things out, time really opens up. And then I would use timers, and I would use like all the tools that you've tried and haven't been able to automate. It's okay. Like, most people who have automated these tools have found that was the early story. It was familiarity. It was try and fail and try again and fail again and try again and fail again. But insisting that this is the better way. It's like in Body Thrive. Eventually people understand fasting time. It might take years, right? But eventually it gets settled in of like, it's better. It's better to have fasting time. Like, it just, boy, it opens up the parasympathetic nervous system, which rebuilds the immune system. Like, damn, that's good. Might try, fail. But each failure there's been progress made. And so all the efforts that you've put in the past to time block, to have calendar integrity, Those will serve you in this next phase of your next trials. Do you have an accountability partner in YHC?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So it would be great if he or she watches this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then
totally.
it would be good if you also talk to them about their, and I hate to use this term for Mao Zedong because he was really kind of an awful human being who killed way too many people, but a great leap forward. Like that's what he called that big plan for China in the 50s. But for you guys to both have a great leap forward. And there's a level of reckoning. There's a level of no nonsense. There's a level of like, I can't do this and do that. I can't have a Netflix subscription and take in the news and achieve my financial goals. Those things do not exist together. And when you find things that do not coexist, you've got to make a choice. It's like either you give Netflix your brain and your immune system, or you give your financial goals your brain and your immune system, knowing that your financial goals are going to help settle your immune system, are going to help rebuild your immune system for all the reasons that you mentioned in the beginning of this session.
Okay.
So tell me what you need to do, and then we'll close it out, because I just need you to say what you need to do in your own words so you hear yourself on the replay.
Yeah, to take the news off my phone, to take Netflix off my phone, to social media. I usually post from my phone because it's easier for me to navigate. But yeah, I can take those off my phone, and yeah, just the thought of it sounds really lovely.
Right.
Sounds doable and radical, but in a way that, yeah, I know it'll be good for me.
Okay, great. And then write a new ideal calendar with time blocking based on the financial goals, based on how many people you need to talk to a week, based on what kind of marketing you need to do to talk to those leads, based on whatever you need to do to develop your course for your course members, for them to spread word of mouth, like all of the things you need to do that will lead to that financial goal, and keep reverse engineering that financial goal so it becomes your reality. We've had so many yoga health coaches be insanely successful from doing exactly that. So you're not the first one. This is not random. This is just step by step what you need to learn next to live your life at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you betcha.
Awesome.
Good job.
Okay.
Yeah. Report back to me in yoga health coaching. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Just think of the investment that you made in yoga health coaching and what you've accomplished so far.
Yeah.
And now you get to leverage that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
Okay. And know that anyone that's been successful has had to deal with these same things. Okay. So you're not alone.
Okay.
And anyone who's ever overcome an autoimmune disorder has also had to overcome these same things. And that can help, right? Like that can really help. It's like, okay, I'm not different. I'm not a victim of any of this. This is just what anyone needs to do to live at this next level. Perfect. Do you promise me you'll listen to this like once a week for the next month, this recording we just made? Yeah. Yeah. I will. I'm sure I'll have more notes to take. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Keep me updated in the YHC forum. Okay. All right. Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. Namaste. Right. Namaste. Thanks, Cate. You bet. Bye.